Hey, it's Celia on the record at WNXP with Gustaf on a show day.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. You guys get it. You get how to sit. You get how to use mics. You get how to sing. I feel like you're going places. I'm very excited to have you here in Nashville, though, for sure. And you're sort of tail end of your tour a little bit. So, like, you feeling good? You seem happy.
Feeling pretty chipper, I think. Yeah. You know, we got a short drive today. It was only like an hour and a half. So we're like ready to go caffeinated.
An hour and a half
company.
drive, 40 minutes to coffee.
Yeah,
we stayed in the beautiful backwoods of Tennessee last night.
Take it away, Mel.
Yeah, I feel really, really good. We're at the point after like 2 weeks of tour, you kind of just turn into like a machine where you just pick stuff up. You're like a rock, and you just and then you play and you get in this groove of like being on tour. So I feel like we're deep in that groove.
Yeah.
Super warmed up.
It's day 27 for us.
Yeah, but you don't hate each other.
No.
That's clear. It's real family vibes.
Love.
Yeah. Actual family and chosen family.
Yes, yeah.
Wait, can we start there? Because there's like 8 million people in New York City, and probably like 4 million are in bands. So how did this magic come together specifically? I know there's South by Southwest story for like the band origin story, but how did you meet as people?
Me and Lydia met at college. Me and Teen were in another band together. Ram and Mel were in a different band together in the past, and then me and Ram were dating in like 2016, and then I was like, can my boyfriend be in the band?
Yes. That's the best.
Yeah.
Well, it's really working, and it's been a few years now. Your first record came out in 2021, but your newest, Package Part 2, out this year. And I feel like there's a real like easy through line between the two records, but probably the songs feel different to you a little bit based on when they were written, when they were performed, and now being able to tour this record. Can you speak to like the differences maybe, and when you're performing these songs, how it feels through the set, old songs, new songs?
Yeah, definitely. I think for the first record, since we started as a band so quickly too, there was like at least a fascination with just sort of like effortless, simple formulas that we could sort of like layer mayhem on top of. And this one, I think we were sort of more interested in like expanding kind of the boundaries of like this very tight sonic palette that we built with the first record. So, we got some more synthesizers. You better believe it. We've got multiple guitar tracks. Yeah.
It's wild.
It's wild. All kinds of things in there. But also sort of still trying to kind of stick to something that sounds like us, but is just kind of like slowly evolving.
Yeah, you're not thinking inside the box per se, but you like the sound like edging outside the box.
Yes. And I feel like this is sort of like a completion of like an initial sort of like concept and like sonic palette that sort of started with the first one, so that like now we can sort of shed a skin and emerge as a fun new slithery snake on the next record. Who knows? Who knows we'll be, but we can't wait. Yeah.
Well, I love that imagery. I was thinking, you told me before about the song Close, about like your vision. First of all, that it's like a simple song, but you obsessed over it, getting it just right. I remember you told me that.
I was a real piece of work with that one. Still am.
But specifically the bass section that you said you envisioned the Autobahn.
The Autobahn, yes.
And now I can't hear that song without thinking of like going 100 miles per hour or more.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So is there another track on the record or like a moment, maybe even performing, maybe not recording, but now that you're on tour where you all are sort of united in a vision that is more visual about like how it feels, how it looks? That seems super abstract, but I feel like you guys are arty and you get it.
Oh, thanks. Stop, I'm blushing.
Here, Hair, we've really kind of come into our own with live, and I have a really fun time with it because on the track there's like a little bird track, and then I have my little dolphin, and then I whip out the dolphin that's very squeaky for the bird track.
You mean this one?
Yes. Yeah.
Exhibit D.
Reset. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I've been enjoying that.
Yeah, and that's when we become a TV studio audience because we got to hold for laughs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I he swims around a little bit. He goes towards Lydia, wants to give Lydia a kiss.
I mean, you've really whooped up the performance aspect of this. It's not just like plug in instruments, do the show. Like you're playing a lot. It's playful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Mel. Was there something you wanted to say? I saw the mic moving.
No.
It's because Mel's in the middle.
Oh, you want me to say something about it? Okay, sure. Well,
or another song that you're like, oh.
Well, I'm not entirely sure. Like we're all like imagining the same thing at the same parts. Like I feel like we all have our own journeys on the songs, and that's what I love about it too. Is like we're all living such different lives on stage, but we all are coming together in that way, which is just so interesting to me, you know. And like I think Your Hair, you're right. Like there's like this deep. I don't know. For me, it's like just all these different feelings that come through, and that it's like sometimes you just feel like we're all in it together, like so hard, you know. And yeah, I know the Autobahn is definitely that part where we're all just going like 100 down the road, in our minds we're like, yes.
I have one last thing to say about the Autobahn because I'll never stop talking about it. Actually, what was fun when we first were tracking the records, we started recording it before we left for our last headlining tour in North America in 2022. And we were working with this engineer, Jeff Berner. And when we were listening back to the tracks or like trying to figure stuff out, he literally was sitting at the board going, near, 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 like making car noises for it. Because I kept being like, this is the night song. You know, the car's cruising, so we gotta go. Yeah. So I was just like, yeah.
Everybody's bought in on this vision.
At least Jeff did, you know.
It's not a hard sell. Well, speaking of Your Hair and Hard Hair, you combine these songs for a video, and that I know that you it was all your concept, right?
Yes.
You're just trying to live your wig fantasy.
Yes, I would. I had two. I had two initiatives with this. Was I wanted to see how big of a wig I could build, and I also didn't want to send notes to an editor. I wanted to send notes to myself. So yes, and I got to do both those things.
And so I stay over at Lydia's when I visit New York City, and I walked in and she's going at it, boiling these wigs. I didn't know you had to boil wigs to
because they're made of plastic. I did not have the budget for human hair wigs. And yeah, so if it's made of plastics, you have to get synthetic dye, and then pretty much just like I was boiling hair in my apartment.
And I have one more thing to add. I'm just gonna add it. A random woman came up to Lydia. No, you want me to? Okay, never mind. I was just saying I was impressed by your work and your
I did have
hard work and vision.
I did have a friend staying with me the night before, and she came over to my apartment. The windows were blacked out because we were shooting a music video, and I was boiling hair.
Mad
and she was just like,
scientist.
"What is?" And like all of my furniture was gone. I was like, "Sorry."
Is this like a second calling, like when you're off tour? Like now you have this side project.
It's great. I can tell you how to efficiently transform a room into a studio.
Yeah. Well, lots of inspirations for the vision of the video, but also songs. I remember you were talking about some poetry that inspired a song Produce on the record. And do you all talk about, like, whether on tour or when you're in the writing phase, like what you're reading, what you're watching on TV, like where do those individual pursuits and interests converge as a band? Maybe it's music or maybe it's something else.
Well, I think what's fun about us that we all have areas where our taste overlaps and like where it also is like very different. So I feel like we're always got stuff that we like. That's
we're a chatty bunch, so we're always chatting about what we're like into and sharing things with each other. So I feel like we all kind of have a really good idea of what everyone likes, like music wise and food wise, especially food wise.
That matters on the road, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the three of us read the same book on this tour. Tara bought it. It's called Ghost Town Living by Brent Underwood. It's our friend who bought a ghost town and in Cali in Death Valley. And yeah, so we were talking about that. It's
true story?
Real.
True story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a memoir. It's great. It's one of our mutual friends who he just bought a ghost town in 2020, and it's just like this. And he has a YouTube channel. His YouTube channel.
It's crazy. When I go home, I watch this YouTube channel with my parents. So when we found out that our friend was friends with him, I was like, he went to your wedding, and I was like, hey, you're that guy that my parents and I bond over. But watch his YouTube channel. It's incredible. He does some crazy stuff.
Wait, is it like Westworld, like a theme park? Like he has people into it? I can look at the YouTube on the side.
Kind of like, it's like a mine. It's an old mining town, and he's like rebuilding it. He's like, a huge project is the hotel, and he just wants to rebuild this hotel. And there's this crazy road that goes up to the ghost town that's like really hard to manage, and got like flooded at least once. Right?
Yeah,
and it was like really hard. It's like just like the story. It's like lots of stories in the book on like trying to rebuild this town and all the history behind it. And
I love the
Yeah.
idea of a Gustaf book club. Cute.
Yeah.
So fun being able to talk about it. Okay, let's go back to recording this record since it is so fresh for fans and you're getting to perform these on, tour live. Can you think of a memory from recording that was just like, hell yeah, we're doing this thing? Like just so gelling as a band, and maybe it's a specific song or just a fun day in studio.
I mean, I've just got to say, Lydia did timpani on this record, and I just remember this was like a long time. And the first record was like was it the vibraphone or xylophone?
Oh, it was the vibraphone.
You're like, we need a vibraphone on the first record. We need a timpani on the second record. And Lydia took it away. So I'll never forget Boom Boom on I-1. So good.
That was called, Roy Orbison, anything you want.
Yeah, you
moment.
got it. Boom, boom.
Okay, yeah. Very insistent on it. And then when we were working on the tracks with Aaron too, I was like, we got to make sure the timpani's got room in the track. We can't clutter that timpani, man.
We got yelled at the studio too.
Yeah.
Remember? What song was that?
It was a song that was cut.
Oh, yeah. We were making lots of noise and too much noise in the studio, and like making scuffles.
Right,
and,
right.
Yeah.
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 You got in trouble for making noise in a recording
Yeah,
studio?
someone else, like,
We knocked over a chair.
Over a chair, and then somebody came in and was like, "That's not cool, not cool." And I was like, "Ah!"
Well, we thought it was joking at first.
Yeah, we were like, yeah, right, rock and
Well,
roll.
There's also like trash can stuff too,
Yeah.
so it's like there was like but yeah, it was just like a stool I knocked over. But also, I don't know, we were getting a little crazy, I guess, but it wasn't. Whatever.
People are like,
It
well,
was
Gustaf's so
problem.
rowdy, but like you seem actually very polite in terms of messing stuff up.
It's funny. There's actually like a weird parallel thing. We got asked this for our first record, and then Mel had a story about how Carlos, our engineer, it was about Your Hair, which was cut from that record. Follow me on this journey, my friends. So we were asked this question for the first record, and Mel was like, "Oh yeah, I remember we were talking about drum, the Kanye drum sample moment or whatever." Or Carlos is like, "I know what the drum." He pulls up a reference that was just like totally not our band at all. It was a very funny studio moment, and that song didn't make it onto the record. And this song that we're talking about is our funny trash moment from the studio that Mel also brought up. And I'm like, guess it might be on the next one. I don't know. Hey, Michael, we can chippy chop that if we need to. There you go, right?
Wait, did you save stuff? Like, do you still have a lot of stuff cut from those sessions that you might use for a future record?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah?
definitely.
And new stuff too. I mean, bands hate when I ask that. Have you been writing on the road? Like, some people keep it very separate. Other times it's like, are things coming up while you're traveling?
I think we got some time this summer where,
Yeah.
we'll have a family meeting.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, I'm glad you do have rest coming up, but you're still like, so hot right now as far as on tour at this point in tour, and still loving your one another's company, which is really beautiful to see. And then you get Europe dates later this year. Yeah,
Yes, Leader Kenny. It's insane.
that is insane
Yeah.
in the best way.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here in Nashville and performing at the Sonic Cathedral and being on the record at WNXP.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you to Thank you, Nashville Frogs, for singing us to sleep.
Oh, it's true.
Cicadas, frogs, we got the whole bit.
Cicadas are crazy. They're so loud.
They're out.
Okay.
Yeah, one landed on her, and it was very cute. Yeah, cute eyes. Cicada's eyes. Adorable.
Love it.
Bye.
Thanks,
you
guys.
so much. Thank you. You're the best.